The scream hit him before the door even opened. Mr. Jackson ran inside. His billion-dollar mansion smelled of fear, not perfume. And there she was, the maid, tied to a chair, bruised and shaking. Two little faces turned toward him, his twins. "Daddy," they cried. They said, "We're not your kids." For a moment, his world stopped breathing. 10 years away. 10 years building empires, buying islands, shaking hands with presidents. And this was his welcome home. He took a slow step forward, the marble floor echoing under his shoes. The butler stood frozen in the corner, pale as paper. Who did this? Jackson's voice cracked like glass. No one answered. The maid's wrists trembled against the rope. Tears streaked through the dust on her face. His eyes darted to his children, the same bright green eyes he saw in the mirror every morning. His twins. No mistake. "Untie her," he ordered. The butler hesitated. "Sir," Mrs. Jackson said. "Now!" The rope fell away. The maid almost collapsed. Jackson caught her, the weight of her shaking body heavier than any deal he'd ever made. "Who hurt you?" he whispered. Her lips trembled. "Sir," she found out. "She said I was trying to replace her." He frowned. "Replace her? What are you talking about?" The woman's eyes flicked toward the grand staircase. Heavy footsteps echoed from above. Jackson turned, and there she was, Clarissa Jackson, flawless in her white silk gown, holding a glass of wine as if nothing were wrong. "Welcome home, darling," she said softly. "You should have called first." What the hell happened here? Clarissa's smile didn't reach her eyes. Just a little discipline. "She lied to me, said those brats were yours." "Clarissa?" He took a step forward, his voice rough with disbelief. "They are mine." Her face twitched, a mix of fury and madness. "Prove it." The maid flinched, shaking her head. "Please, sir, I never—" "Quiet." Clarissa's scream sliced through the air. She pointed at the twins. "They call her Mama when you're not here. Isn't that sweet? The hell pretending to be family." The twins are behind Jackson's legs, sobbing, his hands clenched. "Enough," he said. "You've gone too far." She laughed, soft at first, then louder. "Too far? You left me alone for 10 years while you played God in your towers. And when you finally crawl back, you defend her?" Jackson's jaw tightened. "I left to give you everything." Clarissa tilted her head, eyes glinting. "And now you've returned to lose it all." Suddenly, 2 guards stepped out from the hallway, his guards, but they didn't move toward Clarissa. They aimed their weapons at him. "Ma'am's orders," one said quietly. The twins screamed. Jackson raised his hand slowly, disbelief spreading across his face. "Clarissa, what are you doing?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Taking back what's mine. The company. The house. The legacy. You should have stayed gone." The maid lunged forward. "Stop. You can't." A guard shoved her to the floor. "Don't hurt her," Jackson roared, but the guards pushed him to his knees. His mind raced. How deep had this betrayal gone? How long had she planned this? Clarissa crouched beside him, her perfume sharp and cold. "You forgot something, darling," she murmured. "In this house, money doesn't make power. Secrets do." Jackson's pulse hammered. "What secrets?" She smiled. "Ask your maid." The maid's eyes widened with horror. "No, please." "Tell him." Clarissa snapped. Tears streamed down the maid's cheeks. "They're not mine," she said softly. "They're hers." Jackson froze. "What?" Clarissa straightened, her smirk thin and cruel. "You see, love, the truth is uglier than lies. You thought you were the master of this house, but you never even knew whose children you were protecting." Lightning flashed through the tall glass windows. throwing sharp shadows across their faces. The twins clung to each other, crying in confusion. And as thunder rolled over the mansion, Jackson finally realized he hadn't come home to his family. He had walked straight into a trap. The courtroom was silent, except for the echo of the judge's gavel. Every camera was pointed at the man who once ruled half the city, Mr. Jackson, the billionaire who'd vanished for 10 years and returned to find his home turned into a battlefield. In front of him stood the maid, Rosa, her hands trembling as she held the photograph that started it all. Behind them, the twins sat together, too young to understand the weight pressing down on the room. Clarissa sat at the defense table, her diamond earrings glinting like knives. She looked calm, almost proud, as if the chaos she created was art. Jackson's lawyers whispered around him, urging him to stay quiet, but he couldn't. Not now. Not when the truth had finally clawed its way to the surface. "Your Honor," Jackson said, standing, his voice low but sharp. "For years, I believed my wife when she told me Rosa was nothing more than help. I believed her when she said Rosa was lying, when she said my children didn't belong to me. But today I know the truth." Clarissa's smile didn't move. "The truth," she said softly. "The truth is that you're a fool who couldn't see what was right in front of you." Jackson turned toward the jury. "When I came home, I saw my maid tied up, beaten, humiliated because of the color of her skin, because someone decided she didn't deserve respect. My wife called her names, stripped her of dignity, and when she found out the twins loved her more than they loved their own mother, she punished her." Gasps spread through the crowd. Rosa looked down, tears sliding down her cheeks. Clarissa stood suddenly, voice rising. "She deserved it. She was stealing my family, my children, my life." The judge banged the gavel, shouting for order, but Clarissa's words were louder than anything in that room. She made them love her because she's poor and weak. She tricked them into thinking she's better than me. Jackson faced her, eyes burning. "No, Clarissa. She made them love her because she is better than you." The room froze. Even the cameras stopped clicking. Rosa shook her head, whispering, "Please, sir, don't." But Jackson stepped closer to Clarissa, his voice trembling now, not with fear, but with fury and heartbreak. "You think money gives you power, but the truth is you're nothing without the people you step on. You hated Rosa because she reminded you of what you'll never have, real kindness." Clarissa laughed once, but it broke halfway. "Kindness doesn't win. Power does." "Then why are you the one standing alone?" he said quietly. A hush fell over the courtroom. The judge signaled for the guard to escort Clarissa back to her seat, but she resisted, shouting as they pulled her away. "You will regret this. You'll see what happens when you betray your own kind." Those words hung in the air like poison. The world saw it, her rage, her hate, her unmasked heart. For the first time, everyone watching realized what Rosa had endured for years. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed, but Jackson didn't answer any of them. He turned to Rosa, who stood frozen at the witness stand. "I'm sorry," he said. "I should have been here. I should have protected you." She wiped her tears and managed a small smile. "You're here now, sir. That's enough." He looked at the twins, who ran to her side, wrapping their arms around her legs. The sight hit him like a blade and a blessing all at once. The judge read the verdict. Clarissa guilty of assault, false imprisonment, and hate crimes. The gavel struck like thunder, but Jackson didn't cheer. He just closed his eyes. Justice didn't feel like victory. It felt like a wound finally cleaned, still bleeding but honest. When they stepped outside, the rain began to fall. Rosa looked up at the gray sky. "Maybe it's washing everything clean," she said softly. Jackson nodded. "Maybe it's the first honest day this house has seen." And as the twins reached for Rosa's hands, walking between her and their father, the cameras kept flashing. But for the first time, the story wasn't about money or scandal or betrayal. It was about truth and how love, even beaten and bound, could still stand taller than hate. Months later, the mansion didn't look the same. The white marble that once gleamed like ice now felt warm, softened by laughter that echoed through its halls. The scent of cinnamon rolls replaced the sterile perfume Clarissa once favored. Rosa stood by the kitchen window, watching the twins chase each other across the garden, their giggles brighter than any chandelier. Mr. Jackson walked in quietly, a mug of coffee in his hand. He paused for a moment, just watching. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like a billionaire or a businessman, just a father who'd almost lost everything. "They're healing," Rosa said, her voice gentle. "Children always do." He smiled faintly. "And you? Are you?" Rosa hesitated, looking out at the sunlight breaking through the trees. "I'm trying," she said. "Forgiveness is hard, but I'm learning that hate only keeps the wound open." Jackson nodded, his throat tight. "You taught me that. I used to think power meant control. Now I know it means choosing kindness even when it's hardest." Outside, the twins ran back to the porch, their hands covered in paint. "Daddy, look!" they shouted, holding up a messy picture of 4 stick figures, too big, too small, holding hands beneath a bright yellow sun. Rosa smiled through tears. Jackson crouched beside them, tracing the crooked smiles with his finger. "That's our family?" he asked. One of the twins nodded proudly. "Yeah, you, Rosa, and us." He looked at her, and for the first time, she didn't look like the maid. She looked like the piece that had always been missing, a reminder that love wasn't born from blood or money, but from courage. Later that evening, when the house grew quiet, Jackson stepped outside. The sky burned gold and violet as dusk settled. He could still hear Clarissa's last words echoing somewhere deep in his memory, but they no longer had power. The mansion had witnessed hate, but now it was learning grace. He turned back toward the house, where Rosa's laughter drifted through the open door. The world had called her to help, but she had helped more than anyone ever could. She had rebuilt what cruelty tried to destroy. As the night fell, Jackson whispered a promise to himself. Never again will silence protect hate, because sometimes the richest thing a man can own is a clean heart. From The Billionaire returns and unexpectedly witnesses a cruel truth. The black maid tied with his twins. If this story moved you, share it, to remind others that love is the only power that breaks chains.